Greetings, everyone. It's once again my pleasure this evening to welcome you to our Thursday training. I hope that from wherever you are joining us, you are well, and that the month of August is getting along well for you and for your business. As you know, in our business, we are always out there looking for ways to make a positive difference in people's lives. And for those of you maybe who are joining us for the first time or the first few times, my name is Betty Oloo, a long-time distributor in Neolife. My husband and I live in Pretoria, and we've been doing this business together for very many years. And it's always our pleasure to share what we have come to learn and know over the years. In our business, we are always learning, and what we are sharing with you is mostly what we've learned from other people who have helped us along our journey as distributors, and also what we have learned from our own experience. So I want to welcome you and to just let you know that if you have any questions, I will not be able to answer them during the session, but we always welcome questions. So you can send, if it's an urgent question, you can send it to my number, or you can leave it in the chat. And every month or 2 weeks, we usually have a Q&A session where we look at some of the questions that you have sent to us. So thank you very much and welcome to our training for this evening. As you might have seen from your invites, the topic today is gut health. And this is a hot topic in research and nutrition, because a lot is being found that was previously not well understood about how important the gut is in various aspects of our general bodily health, because previously we mostly thought the gut was just for digesting food, but we are coming to understand that it has got many other functions and effects on our body. So without further ado, I just want to introduce the fact that the gut is the long tube that starts in our mouth and runs throughout the length of our body and comes out at the other end in the anus. And its main function is to digest the food we eat in order to produce the nutrients that we need. So you might remember that a week or two ago, we had the topic of metabolic health, where we were dealing with what happens to the nutrients once they are inside the cell and how our body can effectively use those nutrients. Today, we are moving further up the chain and speaking about the gut, which actually digests the food to release the nutrients which we use in our metabolism. So apart from digestion, the gut plays several important roles in our overall health. And that is why sometimes you hear the gut being called the second brain. And this is because it has been found that very many nerve tissues are found in the gut and the gut has a very close connection to the brain. So this means that the two influence each other. And probably you've heard of people speaking about a gut feeling, where you are able to have some intuitive knowledge because of something that you feel is coming from your gut area, but actually you are able to translate it into thoughts and ideas. So that is likely because there's a very close connection between our gut and our brain, with large amounts of nerve tissues joining the two organs. So the gut is divided into identifiable sections which perform various aspects of digestion, digesting different types of food groups. So, but in general, just to say that the gut contains many glands and cells that make and secrete digestive enzymes, digestive fluids, as well as hormones. All of these facilitate digestion. Some of the digestive juices actually are responsible for killing harmful germs that we might ingest together with our food, and so on. So let us look more closely at the functions of the gut. They include efficiently breaking down the food by chewing. So that happens in our mouth. The main things that do that, the main instruments for chewing, of course, is our teeth. And this is an important part of the digestive process, because it breaks the food into small pieces, which can then be swallowed. And from there, the muscles of the gut move the food down the tube in a process that is called peristalsis, if you remember from your high school biology. So chewing food well is important, is an important aspect of digestion, and we should try to make a habit of chewing our food thoroughly. It mixes with saliva, and the digestive process begins at that juncture and continues further down the tube. The gut also is responsible for producing the correct enzymes and digestive fluids which respond to the food intake. So as soon as we start taking in the food, we don't have to do anything consciously. Our gut is able to respond to the food and produce the right enzymes, the right digestive fluids, and the right hormones as the food moves along. The gut also is important because it contains and grows and supports the life of a large population of friendly gut microbes. I'm sure you've often heard of me or other people speaking about the gut microbes, which are important in assisting us in digestion, as well as in our immunity and in our mental health. So these are bacteria, fungi, and other such microbes which we have evolved to live with in what is called a symbiotic relationship. That is, we give them a happy home to live in inside our large intestine mainly, and they help us in various ways, such as digesting foods that we cannot digest. They also help in boosting our immunity and improving our moods and mental health. Then another function of the gut is that 70% of the body's immune cells that fight off harmful bacteria and viruses as well as fungi are actually contained in the gut. So 70% of the cells of our immune system actually are in our gut. Because also remember that our gut is actually a tube that is connected directly to our external environment, because it just goes through our mouth and out the other end. So it's as if the external environment actually is trapped inside our bodies within the gut. And that means that it's vulnerable to entry by different types of microbes, which might not all be friendly to us. Some are friendly, some are disease-causing. And so that is why it is important that the immune cells are present in the gut so that they can be on site to fight any harmful microbes that might have entered or might be proliferating in our gut. As I mentioned before, another function of the gut is to have a direct communication with the brain. And in this way, it will influence our mood. It will influence things like stress. It will influence mental clarity. It will influence, of course, the provision of energy for the brain to work. In terms of mental clarity, you might have maybe observed even in your own self, because I've observed it in myself, when we are very hungry or when we are very full, our mental clarity might be reduced. So maybe if we have eaten a large, rich meal, we may find that we are drowsy and not really able to be alert. But also if we are very hungry and our energy is low, we may also have a difficulty in focusing. And that is just an example of the direct communication between our gut and our brains. Then let us turn our attention now to some of the signs of poor gut health. How can we tell that our gut is not okay? So there'll be a number of pointers. Some of them are chronic, and I will mention a few of them, definitely not all of them, but these few might be a good starting point for you to get further information. So one such sign is having gut issues such as constipation, diarrhea, or bloating. Bloating is when the abdomen feels swollen and tight, as if it is full of gas, and it indeed might be full of gas. So these three symptoms, constipation, diarrhea, and bloating, are issues that will tell you that all is not well with the gut. It might be a small problem that will pass, or it might become chronic. So for example, something like constipation, may come and pass on, and then we are able to pass stools, or it might become a chronic problem, the same with diarrhea and also with bloating. So in your life, we have products that help with these issues. We can recommend for such gut issues fiber tablets, which have various uses for us. They are the favorite food of the friendly gut microbes that help us. They also are important in helping with peristalsis, that is a movement of food along the guts. In addition to fiber and also they help in improving sugar metabolism so that we do not end up with prediabetes. So it's one of the protective ways or the preemptive ways in which we can ensure that our sugar metabolism does not become problematic. We can also recommend Aloe Vera Plus, which is a drink from Neolife, very excellent, made with a number of herbs that have been found to be supportive of settling and calming down the gut, and also dealing with things like nausea, as well as other types of discomfort, such as bloating and so on. And if you have got minor constipation, Aloe Vera Plus will also help if it's not very serious. Then we have stage 6, which is the big one for helping with constipation. If the constipation is becoming a chronic problem or a regular problem, then I think that we would recommend then stage 6, which is made of herbs that help to moisten the stools and also stimulate the muscles of the gut to remove the stools. Then another sign of gut problems, or that will alert us that our gut is not doing very well, are the more chronic problems such as hemorrhoids, ulcers, colitis, and GERD. So hemorrhoids will come from chronic constipation that has not been attended to. So eventually, as a result of straining to try to pass the stools, then we may find that parts of the gut tissue starts popping out of the anus, and this can become quite a serious problem that may need surgical intervention. So rather than wait until we reach the point of the constipation reaches the point of hemorrhoids, it would be a better thing to start preemptive actions such as fiber tablets and stage 6, and also to check if our dietary choices are contributing to the constipation. Constipation can be due to various things. It can be due to medications that we take. It can be due to lack of exercise if we are sedentary and don't move much. And it can also be due to a lot of eating junk food mostly and not drinking enough water and so on. So then I mentioned the chronic problems. Ulcers can be another chronic problem of the gut. So here is when the wall of our gut actually starts having wounds on it, and these wounds can become bigger and bigger and can actually be life-threatening. So then colitis is another problem where there is inflammation of the gut. And then we also have GERD, which is when we have acid reflux. And all these chronic problems can be due to our dietary choices that might not be healthy. They can also be due to certain medications. And also a few of them, like the colitis, can be due to autoimmune illnesses. Then ulcers are sometimes caused by bacteria. So depending on what the underlying problem is, you may need to see your doctor in order to find out what is bringing about this chronic problem. Because if a problem becomes chronic, it is good to try and find out the underlying cause. But on the whole, what we can recommend for these types of problems will, of course, be stage 6 for hemorrhoids, as well as Aloe Vera Plus and fiber tablets once again. And then, of course, as I said, if the hemorrhoids have become quite bad, they may need to be surgically removed and treated. Then ulcers, we may need to visit the doctor to get some antibiotics. And also, with that, we can recommend chelated zinc, which helps with wound healing, aloe vera plus to soothe the gut, and calmag as well. So those we can recommend for those chronic problems. And then some autoimmune diseases can also be a sign that our gut is not okay. For example, psoriasis is an example of this. And as I said, some forms of colitis are also as a result of autoimmune illnesses. And here we'll normally recommend something like acidophilus plus, which I know may not be in your market. But as I said, you can help by increasing your dietary fiber as well as fiber supplements such as fiber tablets and the mixed fiber blend. This will help to increase the friendly microbes in your gut. And when they do that, they'll help the immune system to deal better and stop overreacting, because you'll recall, maybe those who have been with us for a while, that autoimmune illnesses are often related to problems where our gut is permeable, and then food which is not properly digested might find its way into our tissues and cause the immune system to become distressed and overreactive. So an overreactive immune system is not a strong one, it is a stressed one. So then another indication that things are not okay with our gut is some inflammatory skin problems such as eczema. So because if you think about it, our guts and our external skin, the skin on our body, are actually continuous with each other. So as you can see on your face, you have your facial skin, and then it goes to your mouth and it continues into your mouth and into your gut. So things that are affecting the gut can quite likely affect the skin on the surface of our body. And for example, eczema is an indication that things are not okay can be an indication that things are not okay in the gut. Of course, it can also be things that are happening on the surface skin itself, but it can also be as a result of gut problems. So, but it is an indicator. We can try and see whether our eczema is a result of external things or things which are going on in our gut. And for that, we would normally recommend omega-3 salmon oil, which helps a lot with the inflammatory problems to settle the inflammation. We also recommend vitamin A plus D and chelated zinc. In addition to that, also, it's recommended that we try to eliminate junk food and problem foods from our diet. And this can help with eczema, because by eliminating some of these things, we can be able to identify what is triggering the inflammation or the eczema. And then we would be able to remove it from our food choices. And that would help to settle that problem together with the supplements that I mentioned. Then another indicator that things are not okay in our gut is the craving for sugary foods. So this might be an indication that either we have got a lot of disease-causing microbes in our system, because the disease-causing microbes actually like sugar. And if their numbers increase more than the healthy ones, the ones that support our health, then they are going to start making us to crave what they like, which is a sugary food. So if you notice that you or your child or people that are in your circle of influence tend to crave sugary foods and want to eat sugary things or sugary drinks, then it could be an indication that things are not okay with the gut microbes, or that it can also indicate that there is prediabetes beginning to develop. And so for that, we normally recommend that you deal with it using botanical balance, 3NN, and if you have it in your market, acidophilus. If not, then one of the fiber supplements, also to help to support your good microbes by giving them their favorite food, which is the fiber. The fiber can be as a supplement, or you can also obtain it from foods such as leafy greens and vegetables, legumes, and so on. Then another indicator will be if a person has an intolerance to a wide range of foods. If almost everything you eat causes diarrhea or constipation or bloating, so everything you eat is problematic, then it's another indicator that there could be problems in the gut. It could be that there is a deficiency of the enzymes. Your body is not producing enough of the enzymes that are needed to digest the food properly, so that you end up with bloating or diarrhea. Or it could be that your body is not able to process some of the chemicals that you're taking in with your food, for example, food additives. And this can be why the food you eat is causing problems. Or it can also be that, as I said before, your gut microbes, the good gut microbes might be too few, and you're having a lot of the bad ones, and they are the ones driving these problems. So sometimes we hear people speaking about food allergies, and sometimes we hear them speaking about food intolerances. So when we speak about food allergies, it's when the immune system is actually involved, but the origin of the problem is the food in the gut. So the food in the gut causes an allergic reaction in the immune system. But intolerances is when we take in a food and something in it does not agree with us, and it causes us to have a reaction like diarrhea or eczema and so on. So that would just be an intolerance. So in whichever case, whether it's an intolerance or an allergy, it is important to try and identify and avoid the trigger foods. Sometimes if you avoid the trigger foods for a while, a period maybe of 1 to 3 months, then the problem will sort itself out and you can reintroduce the problem food without any problems. However, with some people, this may not be the case, and you might have to avoid that food altogether if it is always causing problems when you reintroduce it into your diet. Then for these intolerances and allergies, we recommend, again, Acidophilus Plus to rectify the population of the gut bacteria. So we have got the friendly ones. We also recommend flavonoid complex to help with reducing the reactions, and also TRNN. Then I think I'll mention one last of this is frequent bouts of anxiety and depression can have many causes, but one of them can be due to certain nutrient deficiencies. The most common deficiency is vitamin B complex, and this occurs quite often in people who are vegans or vegetarians. So if one has these types of mood problems, such as anxiety and depression, it might be a good idea to supplement with vitamin B complex, vitamin D, and also with aloe vera plus to help with settling the anxiety and depression and helping the person to relax. Then bad breath, when we have bad breath, even though we have got good dental hygiene, because bad breath can be due to poor dental hygiene, that we don't brush our teeth properly and regularly, or it can be that it can also be a sign that bad bacteria are increasing in our gut. And so bad breath, if it's not a matter of dental hygiene, then we can rectify it by improving our diet and then supplementing with fiber supplements or Acidophilus Plus if you have it. Chronic fatigue can be another sign that all is not well in the gut. So chronic fatigue can lead to sleep problems, because when we are very fatigued, we may fall asleep during the day, and falling asleep during the day may interfere with good sleep during the night. And so this can be an indicator from various points, but one of the things could be a problem originating from the gut. It can also be from elsewhere, like stress and so on. But here we can supplement with vitamin B complex, which will help in energy production, as well as the other things that I said. We also would recommend for this magnesium, which helps us to relax and improve sleep, and aloe vera plus also, which helps in relaxation and settling the gut. Then how can we improve our gut health? So those are some of the indications that all it's not well in our gut. So now let us turn our attention to how to improve our gut health. So we should try to eat a wide variety of natural foods so that they can help to build up good gut microbes as well as efficient digestion. Then in addition to that, we eliminate sugar and junk food as far as possible and reduce the intake of factory fats because they feed the unfriendly bacteria that usually are in our system. But if we have the good bacteria, they tend to keep the population of bad bacteria down. That is why this balance is always important. Then we should prioritize enough rest and sleep and also to resolve the stressors in our life. Then we can also increase the intake of healthy fats. For example, the olive oils and the coconut oil and avocado, these nuts. These are all sources of healthy fats that are more supportive of good health. Another thing that sometimes we might not be aware of is that artificial sweeteners are not good with everybody. Some people have problems with them. And for some people, it can also reduce the population of the friendly microbes that support our gut health. So rather than opt for artificial sweeteners, it is better to simply, with time, work out of the habit of being very involved in sweet things. We can train our palate to be less craving of sweetness. And that is a better solution than to take these chemicals, which are, we react to them in different ways. Some of us may struggle, and some people may not have any problem, but you never know how your body is going to react. Then for general gut health, we recommend fiber tablets. So if you just want to take some supplements to ensure that your gut is healthy, or because you have noticed some problems starting, then the supplements that we recommend for that will be fiber tablets, acidophilus plus, chelated zinc, and omega-3 salmon oil. So these are general ones. If you are starting to have problems, you can also add vitamin C, which helps in vitamin C or flavonoid complex, one of the two, will actually help with healing some of the minor issues that might be starting in your gut. I see that the time is almost up, but I think that we have tackled most of the questions that were related to this because we have spoken about constipation, where we said we would recommend stage 6, fiber tablets and aloe vera plus, drinking plenty of water and eating minimally processed foods and eliminating excessively processed sugary junk food. Then we also mentioned ulcers and I think eczema. So I think that I'm going to leave you at this juncture because I have already shared what I had for today's topic. And as I said, you can send in questions. Maybe the question, you had some other question in relation to gut health that I did not speak about. So feel free to send it and we can include it in the next Q&A we are going to do. I want to thank you very much for your attention and for your time. And I'm very hopeful that the session has been of good use to you in your personal capacity to ensure your gut health and also to position our products in your business so that you're able to help the people who come your way who may need help to do with gut issues. So now let me hand you over to Pascal, who is standing by and ready to take you through the next session. But before that, let me just wish you all the best as we are moving towards the last days of the month of August. I hope and pray that your goals are well in sight and you're going to reach them to the satisfaction of all of us. Thank you very much. And here's Pascal now.
Thank you very much, Betty. I think I have a gut feeling that this month is going to be your best month in the business. So after hearing so much about gut health, I want to share with you a few ideas about two things. One is the perseverance in recruiting new people in the team. And then number two, to talk about self-talk. I think most of you have heard about self-talk in many training sessions, but I want to share with you some ideas about how self-talk can influence our success or prevent us from becoming successful. So if you give me a few minutes, I want to share this with you. Remember, last week we discussed this W. This W stands for the work we do, the sponsoring process. And this is what helps us to recruit new people in our team. Recruiting simply means you get people into business. Sponsoring process is a bit more than that. It means you actually take responsibility to help the people in your team become successful. If I'll just go back and refresh our memories about the sponsoring process, if you're new in the business, 2 days old, 3 days old, if you've been there for 5 years, if you've been there for 20 years, even 30 years, this is a process we go through for getting new people in the business. You start with a prospects list. At the beginning, everybody you meet is a suspect until they've shown an interest in either becoming friends with you or is interested in the business, they become a prospect. We recommend 100 names. Then secondly, you invite them to have a look at the business. We suggest 3 to 5 daily. It means 3 to 5 people every day, you invite them to look at the business. Some of them will, some of them won't, but it's important for you to keep on inviting them to look at the business and use tools as much as possible. And then you invite them to look at the business opportunity presentations, where either yourself you're doing it one-on-one or you've got somebody more experienced doing a group meeting explaining the business, how the business works. Then after the business presentation, you have to do a follow-up. Follow-up simply means you ask the person who has had a look at the business if one, they understood the business idea. Number two, what made an impression on them? What did they like more about the business? The business, the products, or a bit of both? And then once you've asked them those, they will come to a decision. Yes, they want to start. They arrange to get a kit, a business starter kit, or they want to be customers, or they're not interested in the business at all. So those are the three options. And this process, you have to persevere in the process. Now, if you will permit me, I want to share something else with you about the importance of persevering in the business. This business, in the short term, is not predictable. What does that mean? It means that any one person you speak to, you don't know if they will say yes, or they will say no, or they will say they want to think about it. Okay? So it's very, very important that you realize that the people you're bringing into the business, some of them may actually not be. If you give me a moment, let me just expand this chart. This is the effort versus the income in the business. It's very important. If you want success in this business, one of the things you need to have is patience. Patience, perseverance, determination. Those things are very important for the long-term success. Because when you start the business, you can intellectually see that if you introduce 3 people in the business, those 3 introduce 3 each. Every month you keep on this. By the end of the year, that is a very high figure. But it does not happen in practice. Something else happens in practice. This chart shows a very simple example. The effort you put in the business when you get started. When you start in the business, because you don't know much about the business, you are still learning what to do in the business. That's why the effort is still low. But as soon as you acquired some of the skills, you acquire the attitude and the knowledge of building the business, your effort the effort you put in the business keeps increasing. That does not directly translate to the income you get in the business. That's why it's very important to know that although there's a direct link between effort and income in the long term, in the short term, it is not. In fact, I was listening to Eric Warren one time, and he was saying that when you start the business, you do much more than you're paid. As the business grows, you will do much, you're paid according to how much you do. But if you persevere for a very long time, you'll be paid much more than what you do. And this is reflected in this simple graph. Initially, there'll be little effort because you're new, you're trying to find your feet, how to do the business. Your sponsor is teaching you is holding your hand, teaching you to do the basics, writing a list, contacting people, inviting them to look at the business, attending the business presentation, doing a follow-up, and getting people started, understanding the marketing plan. Then as you gain experience and knowledge and skill, your effort increases. As your effort increases, it reaches a certain level where the amount of effort actually begins to reduce as your income starts to increase. And the reason for that is duplication begins to take effect. That means that the people in your team have started learning how to multiply or to duplicate what you do. There's a period of about 2 to 5 years that the income overtakes the effort that you put in the business. And I think this is one of the reasons a lot of people quit the business too early. I assure all of you, in the short term, this business is not predictable. It means that this business in 4 months, 6 months, you will not get the equivalent of the effort you put. But over the long term, this business is predictable. It simply means if you sow, in fact, our business follows 3 rules. One is the law of sowing and reaping. If you keep sowing, you're going to reap. Number 2 is the law of increasing returns. It simply means that if you plant one seed, you will not harvest one. Otherwise, there's no use of planting it. But you need to keep planting the seeds so that you get more seed. If you plant one corn, you get a whole crop, a whole bushel. That simply means you get more than you simply you harvest more than you planted. And the last law is the law of delayed gratification. This is, I think, is where we get the biggest challenge in this business, is that we don't have the patience to wait until we actually begin to see the result of our effort. So the income initially will be very low. You're putting a lot of work. You don't see much return. In fact, your business could grow very quickly and then level off and drop. But you need to persevere because payday is coming. In fact, I would say that you've earned all the money here at the beginning, but you're only collecting here later on at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in the business. So don't quit until payday comes. Payday will come. That is for sure. Payday is going to come. If things are not working very well, don't worry. Just keep talking to people because you're actually planting seeds. You're actually looking for leaders. You're actually looking for people who can see the vision that you see. So this graph will give an idea of the power of perseverance. You need to keep recruiting people in the business. That's the first thing. The other thing I want to recommend to you is this. Those of you who have been in the business for quite a while, I just want to see by a show of hands, how many of you in the next 6 months would like to recruit a potential Ruby director? If you'd like to do that, just put your hands up. I can see that almost the whole screen is lighting. Everybody would like to recruit a Ruby director in their business in the next 3 months. I would like to share with you my experience. I see all of you are saying, okay, I want to recruit these leaders. This is my advice. You actually need three types of people if you get leaders in your business the next 3 months, in 3 months' time, they'll all qualify as directors, and you will not have anybody in your nursery to help you qualify as a director. And the reason I say that is that our marketing plan is structured in such that you need three kinds of people to have a stable business. Number one, you need people whom we call customers. Those are people who join the business, but they don't want to do any business at all. They don't like talking to people. They just want to use quality products. That is the first type of people. The second type of people, these are people who join the business. They want to recruit 2 or 3 people within 4 months. They are not very keen on building a big team. They want to build just a small team and they're satisfied with it. Those are called the plodders. These are the people help you do your 4,000 PV. And then you need the leaders. These are people who join the business, see the vision, and grab the business and run with it. These are the people who help you take steps in the business. I will give you an example of what happened to us. Betty and I started in March. And in April, we recruited John Cesar Mwangi and Joshua and Dorcas Ouma. And then Joshua and Dorcas Ouma, when we became managers, they were managers. When we became senior managers, they became senior managers in the same month. When we became executive managers, they became executive managers. When we became directors, they became directors. When we became Sapphire directors, they became Sapphire directors. When we became One Ruby, they also became One Ruby directors. That gave us a lot of pressure because now we needed to constantly build a new team to help us qualify. And out of that leg of Joshua and Dorcas Ouma is what we have our largest team in Kenya. The Njerus, the Karaokes, the Cheges, the Ndumus, all those people are in one leg. So if you want to, if you get leaders very early in your business, you need to be really building quickly to get new people in your team. That is why I would suggest that you need to constantly recruit people in your business. You need to be very consistent and persevering in recruiting new people in your business because they help you grow your nursery all the time. So if you have people in your team who are runners, make sure you not only run like Eliud Kipchoge, but you also need to be able to sprint like Usain Bolt, because those people who are running very fast, at one time they're going to actually overtake you. Not that they'll get out of your business, but you need also to have a separate team that you qualify with 4,000 PV so that you can actually take your steps to world team members. So you need to think through your business. If you have runners all who join your business, you are going to be in a very exciting challenge. That means you need to have other new people to grow and qualify in your business. The other thing I want to speak about is this. Apart from having patience in the business, is you need to know without any shadow of a doubt, 1, this business works. 2, this business works if you work it. Number 3, this business does not follow your timetable. It took me a long time to actually accept that I could see it, but emotionally and mentally, I didn't accept it. It took me a long time to accept that this business will not follow your timetable. This business follows its own timetable. Is it predictable? Yes, in the long term. In the short term, it's not predictable. All right? So it requires you to actually keep prospecting and recruiting new people in the business. Constantly do the basics. All the time, specialize in the basics. Make sure you master the basics. Make sure you learn how to speak to new people in odd places. If you go to the airport, if you take a taxi or a matatu, if you're in the bus, if you're in the bank, if anywhere you are, always learn to meet new people, because these are the people who are going to make who are going to be your friends. Eventually, we join your business and will help you to grow your business. Okay, so persevere in your recruiting process. Don't stop. There's one thing that I read a long time ago, and it has never left my mind. The lifeblood of our business is new people. Those are the people who make our business grow. Those are the people who make our dreams become true. New people, always. And treat every new person as if he is the only person in your team. Treat them with respect, with affection. Don't do for them what they can do for themselves. Let them make their own mistakes so that they can grow. All right? And that leads me to something else called self-talk. I'm sure all of you have heard of the word self-talk very many times. I don't know if you paid attention on what it actually means. All right? Now, we have been speaking about persevering in the business for a long time in recruiting. If you want to develop very long-term success in life, not just in this business, in life, 3 things I would suggest. Number 1, develop your imagination. That is your mental capacity to create pictures of what you want the future to look like. It is very simple, but it's not easy, because I have tried it many times. It is not easy to sit down quietly and create mental pictures of the things you want in the future. Because once you quiet it down, memories of things that have happened in the past come in your mind. Then you start listening to several talks. Then you start imagining things. You hear a noise somewhere, you get distracted. It's not easy. It takes time to quiet down and actually build mental pictures of the things that you want. Remember, the imagination is far more powerful than the will. Some of you, I'm sure all of you have experienced this. You go home at night and it's dark and you open the door and you hear a noise. Once that happens, you're terrified because your mind starts creating mental pictures of the worst thing that can happen. That's how the mind works. And then the whole process grabs your mind and you become fearful. That is how the imagination works. You create mental pictures of the worst thing that can happen. So you need to reverse the process, because now this you can do consciously. Take time, create your own dreams and visions. Every day, take some time, quiet down, close your eyes, and start creating mental pictures of the things that you want. Because worry is when you create mental pictures of the things that you do not want. So create mental pictures of the things that you want. Exercise, mentally visualize the next convention, which is coming in 2 months. Visualize yourself going to the convention with your team. The second thing you need to do for long-term success is know yourself. Know your temperament. You know your temperament. What is your attitude towards time, your attitude towards money? Which of the 4 temperaments is yours? Are you a choleric, bossy, driven? Or are you a melancholy, paying attention to detail? You always want everything at the best? Or are you a sanguine who is always excited about things? Or are you phlegmatic, taking things very easy, no hassle, nothing seems to be in a hurry? Then pay attention to your emotions also. Know yourself. When you're going through stress, pay attention to how you're feeling. When people say no to you about the business, do you hold grudges against them? Think about these things. And then have very long-term success. Okay? Have long-term goals that will help you to grow to the level that you want. Financial, keep it. You need to learn how to make money, to keep it, and to grow it. Learn about the fundamentals of leverage, how to invest money. Some of you who have already reached President Cinemas will know that when you start really becoming successful in this business, there is too much money at the end of the month. What do you do with this money? learn to make it grow. And then you need to have goals which helps you to function. They're called functional goals. Your physical health, this is exercise, diet, and rest. Then you need to study constantly. Then you need to have mental fitness. Okay? Apart from your personal dreams, contribute to society. These are the things that will help you have high-time achievement. But the other thing is this. Let's talk about self-talk. What is self-talk? Self-talk is a conversation you have with yourself every day. All of us, without doubt, you have a self-talk. Why? Because when you're traveling and you're not talking to anybody, you're talking to yourself. When you're at home, when you're in the bath, you're talking to yourself all the time if you're not talking to somebody. The first step of having a positive self-talk is to be aware of your own thoughts. Are you aware of the dominant thoughts in your mind? In fact, a very simple way to determine how your life is going to turn out, once you're aware of your thoughts, which are the dominant thoughts in your mind? That will give you a very simple and clear indication of where your life is heading. So be aware of your thoughts. And once you're aware of your thoughts, start being aware of the negative ones and replace them with the positive ones. I'll give you a very simple example. You wake up in the morning on time, you get out of bed, let me say you do your prayer, you go and exercise, then you set your day you start setting the day to make appointments to see people. And then you take out your list and you see one person's name whom you've been avoiding to call for 3 weeks now. At that moment, you need to be aware, why am I afraid to call this person? If I call them, are they going to throw a rock at me? Or are they going to abuse me? You need to actually examine why you are not calling some of the people in your list. Once you've understood, okay, I'm avoiding to call this person because I'm afraid of hearing the word no. What is the next thing you do? All right, supposing they say no, what next? If you use that simple process, you're going to be aware of actually what is holding you back from growing your business. Next thing is set clear goals. Don't say, I want a lot of money. You see, a lot of money, if you say you want a lot of money, for Charlie Bolton, $5,000 is not a lot of money. But $5,000 for somebody who's a director now is a lot of money. So it's relative. I'd like you to set very clear goals. The amount of money you want to earn, the level of PIN you want to be when you go to Mauritius, the size of house you want to build, which car do you want to buy, what color, what make, how much is it, does it have interior leather, does it have a 4-wheel drive, all those details. Next step, read your goals daily. Why? Because the more you read them, the more they get imprinted in your subconscious mind. Then have a gratitude list. A gratitude list is a list of the things that you are thankful for. In fact, one of the things that really shapes your attitude is your gratitude. If you have a gratitude list, write it. I could say read it, but from my own experience, writing your gratitude list is much, much more effective than just reading it. Because when you write something down, messages are sent from your fingers through your nervous system to your brain, physically. Okay, and that helps to reprogram your mind or your brain for the better. And then when you do your self-talk, do your self-talk in first person present tense. Okay, that's a spelling mistake. First person present tense. What do I mean by that? If you're a senior manager, you need to be saying, I am a director. Why? Because the brain only understands the present. Remember, what has happened in the past doesn't exist. It's only your memory. What will happen in the future is only in your imagination. What you have at the moment is the present time. Okay? So write your self-talk as first person present tense, as if you've already achieved what you want to do. And read it aloud twice or 3 times a day. That will begin to reprogram your mind for success. That's why self-talk is very, very, very important in success. All of us do self-talk anyway. Why don't you take time to examine your thoughts? Set clear goals, read them daily, have a gratitude list, and then write down your self-talk in first person present tense. And then read positive books. This is designed to help you reprogram your mind for success. Remember that action depends on 3 things. Number 1 is what you know, that is intellectually. Number 2, your emotions or your feelings towards what you're doing, that comes from your heart. And number 3 is doing it through your will, that is your hands. So remember the 3 H's, from your head to your heart to your hands. If you combine those 3 things, you're going to be very successful. So remember that success happens when those 3 aspects of your being are all integrated in the same action. What you know, that is intellectual, what you know in your head. Number 2, what you love or what the emotions you have about what you're doing, your heart. And number 3, the will to do it, which means your hands. Combine those 3 things, and if you keep doing that, nobody will stop you from becoming successful in this business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you very much for spending this evening with Betty and myself. I am sure today is the 24th. August still has 1 more solid week of work to do. Keep pushing, and your dreams you're going to achieve your dreams for the month of August. So thank you very much, all of you. Good night and God bless.